I am recording, my friend. Patrick. How do you say your last name? I don't want to screw it up.
It's Lambke, Lambke, Lambke.
That's what I always said, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't screw it up this time.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Where the hell are you located right now?
Well, right now I'm in Alabama, central Alabama. Yep, a little town called Enterprise.
Let's get right into this. What the hell you are, what you do. You're a goddamn knight, for the love of God, a professional jouster. Is that what is? I mean, I've known you a while now. You even went to high school with, I think, some of my family members. You went to
Fatigatos.
Yeah, all my Fatigato family members.
Yep.
So to make a long story short, I'm trying to get as many unique people as possible on my podcast, especially at the beginning, and you fall under this category in the biggest way. Now, when I was shooting my second film, I had Leland Burbank, right? Is that how you say his last name? He was a friend of mine. He worked for Medieval Times. He was one of the head, I guess you could say, knights or whatever.
Leland and I go back a long way. We started at the same time when we first got hired, and then he went on to doing shows all over the place and kind of freelance like what I did. But I got into doing the full contact. In fact, I tried to recruit Leland and a bunch of people from different castles all over, and nobody wanted to play the hardcore, the real stuff. You know, it's a big difference.
Right.
And the Medieval Times was a great foundation for me, and that's what made me excel so well in the full contact. So I thought, okay, I'll start pulling in people that can do this, that do it. Nobody wanted to play. I could only get a few people to come out and do this with me.
Yeah, and you basically, that's in Schaumburg, Illinois. So you started with Medieval Times basically kind of when it's like opened, right? I would say around that time. Yeah,
at the time when because I was fresh out of the service, and I had a company called The Edge Photography. One of the things I did in the military was kind of like a combat photographer / a little bit of everything else. And I did a story at Medieval Times. And this is a funny story because I tell you, I got there and I got all my camera equipment, and actually Tony got me this job working on the movie sets doing still photography, and he got me in pretty tight. And so when I came back to them afterwards and said, I'm gonna go be a knight at Medieval Times after I had a whole job lined up working in the film industry, the guy at the Medieval Times, the owner of the castle, saw me with my cameras, shooting everybody, doing the brochures, doing all this stuff. And he goes, you know what? You look like a knight. You need to get off the horse and get an audition for us. I'm like,
wow.
Okay. So next thing I know, I'm sitting on a horse and I'm going through boot camp again. And it was 6 months of hardcore riding, sword fighting, joust every day.
Right.
That was with Leland. That was with a number of other guys who were there.
Right.
And so those first few guys that got involved in it, we all became the leaders of the Medieval Times. So I went on to building castles in Dallas, Toronto. And I was not just a photographer. I was their electrician and their guy that trained the knights and taught them intensity. And so we toured in South America, Puerto Rico. We had like an E-team of the best of the best. And that was fun times, man. I'll tell you, I'll never forget those times, those memories with those guys, man. It was the best. And so when that was all said and done, and I got the itch, man, I need to do something more in my life. And I wanted to go to Hollywood. I'm like, I'm going to go pursue acting and get into film work. Because I've been an actor since I was a kid, man. I did way off Broadway in Chicago. I did all kinds of stuff when I was a kid.
Sure.
And I wanted to try to pursue more acting. And so when I took off and went to LA. And when I was out there and I was working I picked up movies right away. I did Conan the Barbarian. I did Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. I did a bunch of little kind of B movies too. Cable Guy. I was in Cable Guy. Nothing major parts, but it was getting my foot in the door, you know? And so I met a guy on Kingdom of Heaven. We were doing the trailer for it, and it was big budget. And there was a guy that was there who did full contact jousting. And I'm like, what? You mean full contact? Nobody does that. I never heard of something like that. Excuse me. And I didn't believe it. And so I went to his place and saw what it was, and it was really unorganized, and it was a mess. But bang, lights came on. I'm like, oh, we can reorganize this. We can make this an Olympic sport. We just need to have people who can do this and rewrite the rules and regulations and blah, 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 blah. And so I started calling up people. From that I know that were really good quality nights that can joust, that had the gumption to do this. And so we all got together, and we were doing tournaments. We did a couple big tournaments in Colorado and Estes Park, and we did a few that were starting to blast off. And then the alliances began. We started having like people who would trained by us that knew the safety sides of it, but also the rules and regulation where we're allowed to hit. Because you can get killed really easy doing this.
Obviously.
Yes. Injuries are not pretend. You are going to break something. You are going to get knocked off. It's just a matter of when. There's nobody who's immortal in this business, period, except for me. And but no, I've been knocked off before, and I'm equal as everybody else is. Anybody who gets out there to do this, man or woman, I salute them, because it's hard to do this. And but the reward from it is astounding, you know, because you overcome so many boundaries within yourself, within your mental gauging of strength. You get out there, boom! It's nothing like it, man. It's better than boxing, better than football, better. In fact, we've trained guys that were MMA guys. I don't know if
really.
If you see the TV show, the TV show that we did, Nights of Mayhem with National Geographic way back when, we had a couple MMA guys in there, and we had a pro football player in there, and we were training them, and you know, we needed tough guys. Yeah. And it went well. It went very well. But I tell you what, they're like, this is nothing compared to. This is way beyond the training that we've gone through before, because you're having to do everything. Plus, you're having to deal with an animal underneath your leg. At any time, a butterfly could fly up their nose and kill you. You know. Yeah. So
Patrick, well, let me go back here now. So you left Medieval Times, you guys. Why'd you leave there? What was it? Was it not exciting enough? The money? How did that start? So you?
No. It was the best job in the world that I could ask for. I mean, I didn't leave under bad circumstances or anything like that. I had just done everything I could do in there. You know, they even offered me my own castle at one time. They were going to train me to be the head knight, training me to go on to becoming something bigger for the company, because I was a company man. You know, they trusted me. The guys trusted me, and I always gave them 110% all the time. I left because I really felt there was more calling on where I could go, not just within the medieval side of things, but the sport side. Obviously, Medieval Times, they weren't very supportive about making the sport happen. They're like McDonald's. They're the best McDonald's out there, Burger King. This is the cheeseburger. Here's the show. Bam. And you can't change it. You can't be creative and get out there and add this and change this and whatever. Sure. And come and do some ideas. At least at that time, they weren't very open to it. Maybe they are.
It's scripted and it gets redundant. It's a performance that you just get exhausted. It's like a play that never ends. Right.
Right. Right. And after you've done it a million times,
Right.
and you've done 10,000 falls off of a horse exactly the same, your body and your mind just gets used to the routine. And so I needed more. I needed more challenge, mental challenge, physical
Sure.
challenge. Not so much physical, because that was very physical. But I needed a creative challenge to get out there. I love performing in front of people. But when you're constantly playing that same character, it's time to change, time to try something different. And I did the MC, and I did all the parts that they could do. And they did everything they could do to try to keep me around.
Sure.
And I've done that. They've done that for many of the nights in the past, because I know that after a lot of the people that I've spoken over the years, the same thing they went through that I went through. They needed to move on, and it's a great stepping stone to finding yourself and then getting somewhere. Other guys have gone on to be great stuntmen, great musicians, great actors that started from there, had something to do with it. And
Yeah.
still my goal to get out there. Hopefully one day I will be able to showcase some of my real acting abilities, maybe some of my music or whatever it might be. But in the meantime, here I am, still doing it.
Yeah. So let's kind of get into what you do specifically. Is
Okay.
it's not a phone, it's not a medieval times, not saying that it's phony, but we know it's entertainment and it's staged. In your
Yes.
case, you travel all over the country, or is it North America putting on a jousting event? Is it like competitive, or is it just I know it's for show, but I mean, you guys are really jousting, so it's legit either way. But is it competitive, or is it just something for show, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, it's competitive, always competitive. When we go out there, in fact, I'll bring one of the lances over here in a few minutes, and I'll see what it looks like. The lances that we use are hard lances. Yeah, the lances are not breakaways. They're not scored, and as I hit that and they explode. These lances are hemlock, poplar wood. They're 11 feet long, and so when I go to these tournaments, and I'm going against gentlemen or women for that matter, they take impacts. I take impacts, and you can see some of them. Give you an idea of some of the lance.
Yeah, hell yeah. Show me that shit. Yeah,
They're
that's dope.
metal.
Really?
Yeah. This is steel. This locks into your body. Okay. This grape here, right here, we
Okay.
designed this. So we designed this amongst our modern day knights, if you want to call it, so that we don't break our wrists and our hands. This comes in and locks into the chest. Now you can see the armor back here. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I
You can
see
see
it.
that little spot.
Yeah.
So this locks into the body of the armor. And so you are taking full impact. And it's upwards to around 5,000 pounds per square inch, which is very equivalent to a head-on collision with a vehicle, which is pretty stupid that we do this. I don't know why, but we do. But the joy of it is, of course, the lances of exploding, and when you do get an unhorsing, they're usually clean, because we hit. Hold that right there, honey. We hit upwards around the top corner, and you have to hit in this spot. If you come down and hit a guy in the crotch, which has happened, and the guys have gotten themselves pretty opened up, well, we require even more padding down below so we don't get hurt. We
Sure.
require that you have to hit in these spots in the neck, into the neck now, of all places. But that's the best spot to do it. And we get judged for it. So one of the things that you have to understand is, in a tournament that's out there, there's 6 judges that are watching every move you're making. They're watching how you ride that horse, your control of that lance, if you come off, if you're holding on to the horse's reins. You're not allowed to hold the horse's reins when we joust. You have to have nothing in there. You can't grab onto anything. As soon as you get impact and come off, you got to go with it, or you got to balance stuff back on again. So it requires a lot of skill and a fear factor that you have to imagine that you're in something that you can only see this much, and it's
Sure.
enclosed. It's enclosed that you can barely breathe.
Right, right.
All these things come into effect. All these things come into effect
This is
that
awesome.
you can't see shit. Now this is steel, heavy duty steel. This weighs 15 pounds. Medieval times, Excalibur, they used leather helmets, and if you get hit in the face with a lance, your face is done. Here, you're not. You're protected, and we get
Right.
hit quite often. There you go. Now, something I want to bring up. This tail,
Yeah.
when I did a movie, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, this was the tail from the horse that I used. The owner, a guy named Tony Parvino, he when the horse passed away, I was so tight with that horse, he gave me the tail. So I wear that horse's tail with me every time I compete.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you ever work at Excalibur's too, or no? In Vegas?
I worked with many of the guys at Excalibur, Steve Sharp, Tom DuPont. They've ventured up. What's the other guy's name? From Imperial Knights. Well, it'll come to me. But yeah, I never worked there. I worked with many of the guys, and a lot of them they crisscross Excalibur in medieval times. We're all interchangeable. I mean, we can half of us learned from me. I've learned from them. They've come. I can make a call to the head guy over at Excalibur, a guy named Ivan. He's a stunt coordinator. He's an awesome guy. I'm very tight with him. He's very supportive in what we do. And if you need a guy for a show that I'm doing, he'll, hey, can you take this guy and train him up? Yeah, hell yeah. I'd be honored to do that. We've taken many of the guys to do that, to learn the heavy. In fact, that's where I do a lot of my recruiting. When I need to get some people that we need some fresh blood out here, because there's just not a lot of people that want to do this. And we'll call some medieval times people who have retired from it, or they want to move on and experiment more with their skills that they have. So they'll call me, they'll call Shane, they'll call a couple other guys that are senior knights, I say, that they can come out and do this stuff with.
Absolutely. So let me get to this now. Do you run these events, or is there? What's the affiliation? Who's the federal? Who's running this? I guess you say, is this, or is it just what is it?
No, I was going to say, Rich, is that this has always been it's a good question, because we've had issues and problems with that, because everything comes with finance. Even though we've had two major network TV shows, National Geographic and the History Channel, and they were big shows. They were all over the world. We just didn't organize it enough, good enough, where we can have that spot, because there's a lot that goes into this, a lot of money that goes into it, a lot of expenses that people don't realize.
Absolutely.
And all the skills that go into it. So we desperately need sponsorship to help us get this thing out there. Now, I've had a quest and a vision to try to get this into the Olympics for 20 years now. Probably as long as you've known me, I've always talked about the Olympic version of it.
You have.
And I have a nonprofit corporation. I'm a member of the Equestrian Federation Society, and they're all steps to get that there. Now, that step of it right there, Nikki, can you hand me my shield up there? That's a whole different angle. Now, full contact probably will never make it there. But when I do my clinics,
Yes,
and I teach the jousting side of it. Now, this is something that's really a twist. Now, the shields are designed with pressure sensors. And so it's like fencing on a horse. You're basically hitting a spot, a light comes up in the back, and you're showing your skills on a horse. This is where I believe will make it to the Olympics, because every country has equestrian sports, but not every country wants to jump on, wear a suit of armor, get their ass handed to them. I mean, yeah, some of them may or may not, but this makes it where the women and the men joust and compete equally. They don't have to wear hardcore gear, but they have to have the proper shield training to be able to do this sport. And I believe it's, and the clinics I've done in the past, I've actually put a couple tournaments on where they were women and men that were high-level dressage riders, and they would, within my school, they were like, I consider them level 6. The highest level you can get to is a 10. And so they competed against some of my senior knights. And by the time they were done, my knights were like, the guys were like, damn, Patrick, that's too hard. And my girls beat their ass.
Right.
So it just proved to me that it's about the ability to ride the horse, the precision of riding the horse. And then you shoot back to a time back in the day where, say, dressage was first beginning, and it was all about war training. And so I wanted to combine that with to get it into the Olympics, to get people aware of it, that it's not about hardcore. It is about war. It is about using battle.
Sure, but it's like fencing, right, Patrick?
Yes.
You're saying like fencing, where they have the digital now, where obviously you're not going to stab each other, but you learn the skill level. It's about the skill level, not about injuring each other or yourself, for that matter.
And the thing too is it's not going to require a $10,000 suit of armor and a custom suit made, because that's been the biggest problem for us. To get the sport thing going. You can go to any Renaissance fair and you'll see a bunch of jousters there. You'll see some guys doing this and doing that. But the owners, the guys who own their own jousting troupe, well, they have 20 suits of armor. They're basically the controllers. Well, you can't do jousting unless you have to go through that. If you want to come compete, there's not enough tournaments to hold where with suits of armor of that style, because it costs, every lance is $50 per lance, and we'll go through 900 lances in one tournament.
Jesus.
Yeah. So 9 times 9, that's $18,000 of broken wood for a tournament. And a person, to bring a person, you have to bring the purse of $100,000. Say, it's like when we did it way back, when we did it in London once. We did it in London, Ontario, Canada. And we rented a hockey stadium. And we brought in knights from Norway, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, United States. And so there was like 20 of us. And it was badass. But, the purse was about $50,000. Right. And it was 3 days of brutal jousting. I broke my wrist on that one. This is where we came up with some of the well, better change this because everyone's going to get hurt. But this was also a time where we learned that the expense that went into this, because we flew in the knights, we provided them horses, we provided them first class. It was a Ford, and it was in Guelph, Mexico, or in Guelph, Canada, and they provided us the best of the place to stay, and treated us like kings. It was magnificent. Unfortunately, it was very expensive, and the promoters, if it had been televised and it had been maybe a little bit more sponsorship, everybody would have made. Because you got to make money when you're doing this.
Of course.
I'm passionate. I've been passionate enough. I've been broke enough for doing this, but my passion is still there. And so is everybody else who gets involved in this. Their passion, that's what the only thing they got driving for. That keeps them going, keeps us alive, because we find new blood that wants to come and do this. You can't turn them away. Come on, we'll teach you how to do this. Because you got the feel for it. But the expense side of it, someone has to carry it, and that's usually the guys who own the troops, the Shane Adams guys, the Knights of Valor, other troops around the country that have this, all the horses and expenses that goes with it. So a sponsorship, we're jumping on board and saying, hey man, here's $1 million. Let's put this tournament out. Let's organize this sport
Yeah.
Because we already wrote the rules and regulations. We've got it tight, man. We got it together. We've got the blood too. We got the guys to come out to do it, but we can't go do it for nothing. You want us to do a tournament in Chicago? Okay, say you want to go do a tournament in Chicago in your backyard where you're right there right now. Okay, well, we got to get 10 guys, minimum 10 guys, minimum horses, 20, 15 horses.
Sure.
Then it's like putting a concert on.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an event. It's an event. Yeah, you're kind of like MMA in its infancy, right? Kind of to a certain degree. It's also, I think people are nervous with you guys obviously hurting one another and yourselves. Insurance gets involved. Someone could get killed very easily, snap their neck, falling off a horse, the jouster. I mean, like you said, to the throat, which brings the excitement to it. I mean, you could get killed on a football field. You could get killed doing a lot of sports. It could be NASCAR. It could be whatever, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to see the accidents. Everybody loves when the guys get unhorsed. Everybody loves the blood and the guts of it. And you know what? We've been lucky. And when I say lucky, I mean nobody's gotten killed. Nobody. And that's because of our training. When you come to do this, I'm not going to put you on a horse to have your ass handed to you just because the media. No. I'm going to make sure you know the rules, regulations. I'm going to make sure that you're safe so that you don't hurt yourself, you don't hurt the horse, and you don't hurt the other guy unless you do it right. I want you to hurt the other guy, but I want you to do it honorably. This is where the sport is different than everybody else. Right. We do this honor. There's very high honor and respect that goes on here. You know, we're not out there to taint something that's been trying to be a sport for almost 1,000 years. Now, here's a fact. The Pope has outlawed this sport 3 times.
In Italy, or where?
All in England,
Europe,
all through Europe, back from the 14th century, 15th century, it was outlawed because this was the football of football. This was the place to go.
Oh, absolutely.
That was it. Yeah, all the royalty would come in from different countries. Even if they were at war, they would have a tournament, and they get a newspaper. So the generals out on trying to take over some country, and they just sent out their best knight to compete against France or Italy or whoever it might be, and they get a newsletter. Oh shit, we're down in points. It was the same thing. So we're the guys that have tried to bring that sport back. We're the guys that are running through the same struggles that they were doing before, and we're not going to quit because it's just not going to happen. And at least I'm in an opportunity now where I can sit down and relax, and I can start reorganizing it again. And I'm blessed that I got a place to be able to do that at, and still be able to kind of dark shadow other troops that are trying to do it. If they need me to come out to help them, give them the advice that they need, I'll come out and give whatever expertise I can do to help them. But in the meantime, step by step,
Right. Yeah. Where are you at your own shop here? What do you, what do you sell this stuff? Are you it looks like you have a layout here. Is this your garage, your backyard? What is this?
No, I've got kind of a sponsor right now. Besides doing this stuff, I do private security, and and so I'm working with a big event place that puts concerts on for country bands, celebrities that might come in, and so right now things are slow because of, we all know why, Budweiser virus.
Yeah, gotcha.
And so he said, come on out here, Patrick, bring your horses and start going over all the security and start training. I'm going to start training some more of the guys up for when the big concerts come in. But he's giving me 3,000 acres to work with and start setting up whatever I need to do for my training. And if I want to put tournaments on here, I can. So I'm kind of just settling in. I've been here for about a month now.
Okay.
And it's a perfect spot. It really is. Great people. I respect them all. I'm falling in love with Alabama.
I've spent a lot of
Just
time there,
you
believe it
know,
or not. I've been in and out of Alabama a ton of times. It's beautiful. I like it there. It's nice.
yeah. I
Slow
like the
motion.
people. They're like,
Wonderful
yeah,
people.
it is. It is. But you know, the people are, they are what they say they are. You know, or there's no bullshit. But it's like it anywhere. Now I've had schools in Colorado. I've had clinics I've done in Utah, Tarzana, California. I've been everywhere. I mean, and this is kind of a nice, kind of relaxing state. So I can, I feel like I'm getting ready for something that's big is going to happen one way or another. Whether it's
Nice.
the jousting, you know, we've been to the concerts. Remember Celebration Flipside, and the boys out there that we used to run with in Chicago. They the concerts at Rockford Speedway and
Oh
all
yeah.
the big ones in Chicago at ACDC. I look forward to those big concerts because one of the things many years ago I had I was doing something with the
It's all right.
Rolling Stones, and and uh, and I was just, I always talk about my jousting no matter what, and they were totally into it back then. I mean, it's going to take some celebrities to see this and go, okay, man, let's support these guys. Let's do something with it. The reality show, one of the reality shows that was pitched, that we already did it, but there was another one that we were going to do, was training the celebrities' children's, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids or whoever, the kids that want to learn
Yeah.
to do the jousting, but they give them something. And I come in and I teach them, and they learn how to do something cool, and they're, that's an angle coming in for the sport. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah. Now let
Uh,
me. Were
there's
you
so many
involved with? Were
different
you
ways.
in? Were you involved with the Knight's Tale at all? Or was that all shot in Europe with Heath Ledger? Were you involved with that at all?
Yeah, that I was kind of a little bit involved, and not super a lot. I was involved with my school was in Tarzana at the time, Tarzana, California,
Okay.
and it was just the beginning of it coming up. And I also had my management company, KEM, and so I knew every movie that was coming out, and and I was managing other stunt guys like myself that had skilled with swords, horses, and whatever. And so I got a breakdown that came in, and I put this video together for Brian Hildebred was the producer's name, or the director, and I sent this all into them, and they needed 3 guys to go to Prague, Czechoslovakia. And at the time, I didn't have all my gear together to go overseas, but they sent me 3 guys, a guy named Tom DuPont and a few other the guys that were going to be going out there, and they learned a little bit about. They already knew how to joust. They were great jousters, but the heavy armor was different.
Right.
So we came up with a spaghetti noodle idea, so that they would put spaghetti inside the noodles that were hollow, and and then some of the stunts to get wearing the armor, because they weren't used to wearing the armor. And I remember I was doing a tournament in Estes Park on one of the final scenes that they were shooting, and they're like, Patrick, can you come out to Prague right away to do the final scene on this big horse that's rearing up and do blah 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 blah. And I was in the middle of a tournament, a real tournament going on. I'm like, yeah, I can, but it's gonna have to be in about a week. I'm almost done here. And I should have done it. I just took off and went
Yeah.
to and did it, because I didn't know how big it was. When you're doing so many films, or you're doing, you don't know what's real and what's not. Anything that has to do with jousting, I always want to be part of. But I also want to be, I'm already competing right now. So I had a part to do with it, and that part was pretty much just counseling them from afar. I don't want to put myself in the category of, I did all the stunts, but a couple of the guys learned their lesson the hard way, and they went back to using the helmets that were not metal. One of them took a face hit, and I'm like, man, it's not the same. This is not a stunt. When you're competing, when you're hitting full contact like that, you're getting hit hard. And if you get hit in the face by something hard, something's going to break. Even though you got that helmet on,
Oh
you're
yeah.
going to have a rip. most of our injuries in the past, I could take it. You take a hit to the chest, you won't feel heal. You'll feel on the back of your chest, on the back, because the shock will go through your body.
Oof.
It's that intense. Yeah.
I've never even sat in a horse.
No?
My mom, I think when I was younger, put me on a horse once, and then she took me off to take a photo. My godmother owns her own, she has a horse ranch in Illinois. I don't know how many horses, 8 to 10 horses, which is interesting. Again, my godmother, who, is involved with horses. I visited her ranch, and it's beautiful, state of the art. Again, never got on a horse. I mainly went to horse tracks to gamble with a lot of my family members, even off track. That's when I've been around horses. Some of my family members even owned horses off and on.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine a sport where I had to get on which I love polo. I find that so interesting, the sport of polo.
Was awesome. That was another angle we were going after, were the polo people. Because they have 5 or 6 horses with them all the time. I would have a lot of respect for the polo people.
Do you think, too, though, if I was to look at your sport and say a lot of people that are affiliated with horses are very wealthy, right? I mean, polo down the line, and as far as all the different, even the jumping and all that stuff is wealthy. Do you think when they start to see what you're doing, it just scares them again because of injuries, or they frown upon it? What do you think? Would it be like more, I guess you could say too. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Is in the world out in the United States and outside of there's Renaissance fairs, and people always associate Renaissance fairs, medieval times, Excalibur, to jousting, and it's all show. But even if it's full contact, we're doing, people see show. They don't think, oh, sport. And that's been the dilemma. That's been the pain in the ass that we got to get across to people, that this is sport content. We're trying to show you that we're athletes. We're out there and we're competing. I'm representing my country with my team of guys versus France, Italy, whatever, for a purse or for whatever it might be, for a gold medal, and when people just can't get that through their head sometimes. And so the guys, there are a lot of wealthy men out there who are knights that created their own little thing. And I have a great respect for them. They took the jousting and they put little balls to tips on the end, and they call themselves full contact jousting. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not. Nothing personal. Your armor's really nice. You have a really nice horse. I respect you because you're out here doing this. However, you're not jousting for real. There's a big difference. Now, those are the guys, they are intimidated by what we do because we're the NFL of
right.
The handful of us, there's not very many of us. There's probably 20, 30 of us in the world. And then you have the rest.
Sure.
And the show jousters, the guys who have the $100,000 suit of armor, the fancy ones that have all the horses, and again, I'm all for them, what they're doing, but the full contact is a big difference, man. Big difference,
Yeah.
And so they've tried to organize it, and they've tried to put it together, and they piggyback right on our back. As soon as that TV show started, all of a sudden now they have their own jousting sport that's going, and they copied us, and they kind of dishonored us in a way, disrespected me. But it is what it is, and I'm not going to say yes or no. How awesome whatever.
I got you.
As long as you're doing it. But what's going to happen if the sport gets going on their angle? Are they going to call upon us? My doors are open for anybody to come. Same with the other troops that do full contact. You want to come and do this? You got your own suit of armor. You got your own horse. That's even more awesome. Come on. Come and do it. But they won't. They'll say they are, but they won't do it.
All right, have you ever tried teaming up with, say, a rodeo, hypothetically? I know it's not the same thing. It's so different.
No.
But that would be a nice niche for you to kind of either follow up or come in before they come and maybe get another audience to start getting involved, just out of my thinking. Did you ever try that?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
How'd that go?
And many of the rodeo guys have crossed over to us. In fact, many of the good jousters that we have are ex-rodeo guys. The rodeo people, I don't know why it hasn't got a circuit like the rodeo. We tried this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, recently, and we still do. We still right now do rodeo stuff. We still go and do the halftime for a rodeo. We'll do an exhibition. We still do it to this day. The three troops in the world that do this, which really now there's only two that do the full contact. And we're a dying breed, man. We don't have we're the dinosaurs like myself and a handful of the other guys. I'm desperately looking for people to train to learn how to do this, so we can pass the new blood on and pass it on our skills to them. And a funny thing about that is, who's coming up to the plate are women.
Interesting.
The women are. I have a great deal of respect for these girls because they put up with a lot of shit, and they're hardcore. They can ride. They take care of the horses. They're fearless. A good chunk of them. And so, to me, I think I've talked to you about this once before, is that, okay, so if we got to create, not so much, you don't have to jump into the NFL here and start competing.
Right.
So I want to be able to bring people in at the levels that they are. And so if I got 100 people, 100 men, women that are competing, I will create a special setup so that it's still hardcore, but you don't have to be going against guys like me, because it's not fair.
Sure.
I'll tell you straight out, it's not fair, and I don't want to joust anybody. There's only 2 or 3 people in the world that I can go against that's fair. I don't want to hit them. I mean, I do hit them, but I'm not out for blood, man. I'm out for teaching. I'm out getting them out there. Move me, hit me, so I feel woken up. Okay, good. It isn't about that. To get them competing like that, I would love that, man. I would love to be able to get that vision of it. And I've come up with a whole idea for it, and if that can come together, I think we can get a women's team, a men's team. Now, the women, you say you want a women's team. Look at this. Oh, no. Women want to compete with the men. They should. There should not be a division. Because You know what? You're equal. You're equal all the way through. I respect that. I know that. There's guys that come on, and I don't care how much of a badass you are. You're flying off that horse as quick as anybody else if you don't know how to ride. If you're not at the levels that some of these men and women have, that skill level. The skill, 90% of this, all right, 75% of this is riding ability. And that's, once you got that riding ability and that pure technique, I don't care. You could be my grandma. And if you have perfect technique, you're going to knock off some big people. You're going to knock off some people that you have perfect technique, So.
Yeah. Have you tried marketing yourself in Europe, or is there dudes like you in Europe that are carrying the load? Or are you guys all like Canada, for instance? I'm just saying. Or, you would think in Europe of some, especially England or places that still have that ambiance of, I guess you could say, with all the castles and history with the knights and all that, it would be something they would gravitate towards, kind of jump ship. Say, okay, the United States really isn't taking this on to the level we want. Would England be interested, or would Italy hypothetically be, or Spain? I don't know. I think. Have you tried?
Yes, and yes to all that.
Okay.
I haven't tried per se. I've been kind of locked here in the States. I have a great deal of fans in different countries all over. During the TV show going on, I had a king out of Africa that was very supportive out of the Ivory Coast, and he used to, just come on, you're representing everybody, blah blah blah. And in Germany, I had some big fans out there. I just haven't got out there, I haven't been able to pursue a lot of it and pitch this concept because Italy has a jousting team that's pretty good from what I understand. We haven't had a chance to get out there to do this. And it's never too late. I'm ready to go anytime. If there's a circuit that needs to go and I need to go from country to one of the things is just one of the pitches an idea I always had. It's just an idea. Okay. Was we need to get the Olympics signed on board. You need like 73 signatures from different countries. So I was thinking, okay, I'll go to every one of these countries and teach them the sport of jousting, and that's the show. Going to some country that's never even seen a horse, teach them how to joust or whatever. The challenges that it goes with it, and learning how to do this, and then they sign on and say, okay, we want this to be a sport. That's one signature. Next signature, and we just keep picking away at that. That's always been idea that I had. We talked about wanting to do way back when. But to answer your question, yeah, they are out there, and yes, they would do that. It's not organized. It's just the same thing as it is here. You go to a castle out there, they see show jousting. You don't see the real deal. We're the hardest hitters in the world. We are, the United States. We are the best. And I'm not saying that they're not the best out there because they don't compete with us. There was a couple guys that were pretty damn good that came out that had great technique. They competed against us from Australia, New Zealand, a couple guys from Norway. This was back in 2000. After they came out and toured with us for a little bit, they went back and we thought, okay, they might have got motivated. Let's put some tournaments in out there. We want to plant the seed, so invite some of us to come out to compete with you guys. And it just never happened. I don't know why. Maybe we're too scary, or maybe not. I mean, we were just, who knows?
Who knows?
So there's still, to me, there's still hope. And I believe in that. I believe there's still hope into making it happen. And maybe Rich, you'll be able to assist on that and become the executive producer of this new jousting show.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what you guys do. I just, I remember when me and you even talked about that years ago. It's so out of my realm. And what's funny is I love medieval times. I loved it enough to get Leland to put a scene in my film regarding some things. You guys, I give you so much credit, Patrick, for sticking with this, going through it. You need the right team behind you, you know what I mean, that just knows the game. You know what I mean? And that has the same drive you have in that industry. And, I mean, you stuck with this for so many years. You live this. You need a reality show, I think, if you were going to pitch, is on you. And starting with just you, maybe not taking on a monumental task on saying this has to be an Olympic sport or this has to be this or this. You're so unique, and you're a mixture of Mickey Rourke meets, I don't even know where to go because you're on a horse, but you have that Mickey Rourke quality, and you're really a legit tough dude. You do things that most people would be deathly afraid of doing. I don't care how tough you think you are. Getting on a horse, running with a goddamn joust at each other, full speed, and hitting each other it's unbelievable. It's beyond a sport, I think. Sometimes it's just another level of. It's not even MMA fighting. I get those guys are badasses. You're fighting each other. It's a little regulated, but you never, like you said, know what's going to happen when you're on a horse coming full speed at one another. The excitement of that, I think, is unbelievable. Even when it's fake, I still find it unbelievably entertaining and scary. You know what I mean? Even if you took fake wrestling, they call those guys fake or whatever, the wrestlers, the WW. throwing each other and shit. You may say that's fake, but when you're getting thrown out of a goddamn ring or a 400-pound guy throws you or hits you, it's not fake. So
I have a great deal of respect for those guys.
Yeah, all you guys.
And here's the thing, too, is I can't tell you how many times we've been at a tournament and a guy gets knocked off and he doesn't get up. And that crowd is no longer screaming.
Mm-hmm.
That crowd is dead silent.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going on. It isn't about, oh, okay, you know, everybody, we all drop to a knee. We're praying, man, you okay? You know, is this guy going to be okay? And it's happened multiple times. You know, when you come off, when the guy bounces back up, well, great, you know, fire, let's keep going. But it's intense, man. It's intense. And you don't realize that sometimes as Knight's on the horse, you know, as that guy's competing, but then all of a sudden the reality of it is, wow, what are we doing, man? As great as this is intense. And, you know, when you watch the videos of it afterwards, like there's another TV show that's coming up called TiltTV.com. A guy named AJ Satterfield has put this together with Knights of Valor, and it's 48 episodes of the last 5 years of us jousting. It's got some intense stuff, very intense jousting, unbelievable unhorsing, hospital visits, going in and out. One guy took a lung hit through his lungs and pierced his lung, and he was with an iron lung, staying in the hospital. Now me, because I'm a fucked up personality, I went to go visit him, and he was also one of my students, and I loved the hell out of him.
Yeah.
It's just a funny story that I have to tell you. So he's on his iron lung, and I'm bringing his computers into him so he can talk to his family and everything. And he can't really reach over to see that I'm coming in, and he's on the iron lung, and there's this thing that goes up and down. And I'm like, that's it, Marcelo. You've been here way too long. And I fake grab the tube, and I start breathing in. Guys, I'm breathing in his lung. You need to get better quicker. And so Patrick, no, because he thinks I'm breathing for him.
Right.
And it was just hilarious. You had to be there, Claire.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that, you know, and that somebody like that, after he healed from it, he was back at it again. And it wasn't going to stop him. Broken legs, broken concussion. I won't even go into my injuries that I've had, but everybody goes through it. And this is all part of what the game is, like any other sport. We just try to keep it where as the sport gets better and better and we start hitting harder and harder, well, we need the proper gear.
Sure.
We're always adding more things for our heads because concussions are a big deal.
Yeah, you're evolving, right? You're evolving like everybody else. Right.
Yep. And the brain injuries seems to be the one that's happening now, you know, because I'm starting to see that a little bit more as time goes on. Okay, maybe those concussions that we got, like boxers, you know. So we absolutely make everybody wear mouth guards. We make everybody inspect their armor so that you are okay. You come off that horse at 40, 30 miles an hour after taking an impact. You land on that ground. The ground's fluffed up. I've done a tournament, and there was a guy. The horse tripped and then rolled on top of me, and so I wasn't expecting that. It just tripped. That come up on the horse, and you can see it's in my book. If you ever get a chance to look up Medieval Knights of North America, it's on Amazon, and it's
awesome. Mention that.
Yep, it's basically a story of all of our struggles of trying to get the sport going, but it's got great pictures in it. And one of the pictures that was in there was that horse rolling on top of me. And I have only been on horse one time in almost all this jousting time, prior to that. And when I was coming for the guy, and the horse tripped and fell and then rolled on top of me. So I got up afterwards. I'm like, shook it off. My squire happened to be a chiropractor. He put my shoulder back in place. And then took the armor that was all twisted and pounded it out. We had 2 minutes to get back on. I got on another horse. I get on a horse that I've never rode before. We lance, I'm like still dazed. Bang, go to the next. Now the next pass, 1 in a million chances that it's going to happen. We had a tip to tip. That tip, the lance came in, hit each other, and then broke, and they came right into my head.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, knocked out completely. I come up, and now I wake up. I'm like, what the fuck happened? My squire's like, he's like, yeah, you got get back on, get me another horse. So they gave me another horse. I got 2 minutes to do it. I wake up, and now this time my shoulders forget about it. I just got on the horse, held the lance, and I couldn't continue.
This is good stuff. I got to do a follow-up with you. I'm coming up on an hour with you, and I want to keep it around there. So everybody, I don't want to give too much because I want to do follow-ups with you on how you're doing.
Okay. Sure.
And also, so how do people reach you? I mean, I know how to reach you, but what do you got your own website or what's going on here? I mean,
people, it is difficult to reach me. And it wasn't like it was back in the days.
Well, they can reach me, then I'll get to you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's much better. Because then you can make sure that they're not crazy psychos, which is okay. I don't mind crazy psychos.
No, definitely. If any producers I know, executive producers, directors or whatever. The guest before you is actually a producer, and he was working on 5 different reality shows. Rick Cullen, he's a great guy. So I'll definitely send this to him. But I know a lot of people, as you know, in LA, Chicago, New York, that involved. That may like to, and that's why I want to have you as a guest. So, yeah, you're awesome. We got to do follow-ups for sure. All right, my man. All right, brother. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
You take care of yourself. You're the one who's gonna. I don't do shit. I go work out. I'm always scared, man. That you know what I mean with you. I don't want to hear any bullshit that you're in the hospital.
That won't happen. Well, it won't be from jousting. Most of my accidents happen from walking out the door and tripping. My worst injury I ever had is I fell in a tub and busted these ribs up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
As much as I work out, Patrick, constantly in the gym, I was in Seattle going down a hill looking for an Italian restaurant, and they dug out a tree on the sidewalk. I snapped my whole ankle. It's when you don't, I'm telling you, slipping in the tub, that's no bullshit. Like all those things. Because when you're working out and you're focused, but it's the shit that catches you off guard, I always said.
Well, you're Italian. Okay, I'm Italian. And so here's the thing that people don't realize. We have a magic cure. You know that, right? It's garlic. So just eat massive amounts of garlic.
And olive oil.
For all this Corona bullshit, I spit on you. I will eat raw garlic, and it will never happen.
That's funny. Yeah, you're the opposite of Dracula or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
you're the opposite.
It will not come near me. And I make a special concoction. If we get a chance, I'll make something for you that will blow your mind. Because only you would appreciate it. It's so good.
I love it.
All right.
All right, brother. Stay safe. All right. Seriously, on every level. And I wish you and everyone else there,
thank you.
Be safe as well.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right.